Alright. I think that's everyone. Ah, what the heck, man? Come in. You're pretty much a classic. You're canon at this point. Was that really you in the movie, or did they get an actor?
Yo, I'm ready to turn up!
Get your lame ass.
Let me get into the YouTuber voice. I don't like making videos where I'm hating because I don't like seeing people cry about it in my comments. And seriously, nobody wants to watch a video with a negative Nancy crapping on the things you may like. But sometimes the hate is valid. The FNAF community for some reason can't give criticism for the life of them, but when it comes to sitting fan game developers' death threats, they're putting up prime LeBron numbers. I don't want to be the personification of this meme.
Literally the coolest thing ever.
This thing sucks, actually. Yeah, I could rage bait, but all that's good for is engagement, not long-term success. That tagline in my banner wasn't a joke. Rage bait doesn't pay off car notes. But this is one of the rare cases I just need to talk about this. Originally, this was going to be another FNAF OC video that I was going to use to talk about Brother by comparing him to Sparky. In fact, the title I was going to go with was Why Sparky Works and Brother Doesn't. Here's the original thumbnail. But as I did the research and the rabbit hole went deeper, it turned into a video essay about the polarizing existence of the lamest FNAF OC of all time. I heard about FNAF in real time, and I mean, who hasn't? Anyone who had even thought about Freddy Fazbear and his quirky shenanigans couldn't escape the crazy marketing that this little fan game got. But when it dropped, I remember I was in a call with my friend playing a game and he said this.
Oh yeah, did you see that people on Twitter were saying that FNAF Real Time was trash?
Oh, well that sucks. I didn't think much of it, let's be honest, Twitter users are miserable. But as time went on, I came across videos that actually gave valid reasons why the game sucked more than just I hate you! I fucking hate you! Yeah, gameplay, tone, whatever, but there was one interesting flaw they brought up that was always brushed over that I found interesting. The inclusion of a self-insert OC named Brother.
The fact Golden Freddy got shafted makes me wonder one final thing about this game. Why the fuck was Brother in this game?
And I had an idea of how badly it was implemented before I went down this rabbit hole. Because FNAF in Real Time is like this cool FNAF 1 remake that features the original cast. What the fuck? I always thought this dude's inclusion was random, but after going down the rabbit hole, I was appalled by just how stupid his character's existence is. And I've had time to reflect, collect my thoughts, and the conclusion I've come up with was, I do not care for Brother. He insists upon himself. With Sparky, he's a video game urban legend. Herobrine, Taboo being playable in Brawl, the existence of Missing Note. They were all video game hoaxes that grew popular because they very much could have been plausible. And for the case of Missing Note, it did exist, but it was just a technical glitch. But people found the idea of Missing Note so alluring that it sort of got its own community lore. FNAF is no stranger to secret screens and secret characters, so for what it is worth, Sparky the dog could have existed. It wasn't out of the question that this game could be hiding more secrets, so when Sparky first hit the internet, a lot of people believed in his existence. He wasn't presented as some elaborate character that played a gigantic role in the FNAF narrative. He was a simple Easter egg that showed up rarely in one of the camps. Meanwhile, Brother's like,
No, this whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
Like, dude, from what I played yesterday, I'm gonna be 100% honest, I would be embarrassed if I released that game to people.
Not gonna lie to you, chat, I didn't play FNAF in real time, but from what I've seen, I'm glad I did it. And no, I'm not gonna let my hatred for Brother blind me for the talent Real Time Studios has clearly exhibited in this well-made product. Despite my gripes with some of the decisions, it is undeniable that this is a well-made game, especially by FNAF fan game standards. Like seriously, the graphics are clean, the sound design is a bit iffy at points, but the OST makes up for that. The voice acting can be corny.
Oh my god, what? I knew I wasn't crazy. Oh my god, holy fastballs.
I gotta cut the shit the f off.
What is it?
But what is he doing?
I don't know. I really don't know.
But the VA for Brother ironically does a really good job with the character. And looking past those weird jump scares, the rest of them are completely fine. It's just there's a lot of choices made that in the eyes of the overly critical or people who have the capacity to think for themselves really question the overall quality of FNAF Real Time, especially since it was the most glazed fan game of all time. Look, I personally don't like it. It's just not for me. I can acknowledge that there's things to like about it. I saw the potential, but it's just
Holy fastballs.
Look, I'm a miserable person. I could totally dedicate a section to just hating on the game, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let the YouTubers do it.
There is genuinely so much wrong with this game. Like, actually.
A joke, you know? Like, that game is an absolute joke.
I have never played a fan game so afraid to take a single risk.
I gave that game a C-. No, it's like F. Like, I legitimately can't find anything positive or worthwhile to say about that game. It seems like an absolute failure.
But the biggest problem with the game overall is that it's anything but FNAF 1.
Genuinely worse than Five Nights at Freddy's 1?
FNAF 1 had subtlety to it. This game doesn't.
This game has sucked all the subtlety and atmosphere out of the original game.
It's so bombastic for no true reason. You can't take it seriously.
And it's like a joke.
This game lacks direction big time.
But it's marketed as this like really serious, impressive project.
The game tries to be scary, but it tries to be stupid and funny.
The game itself is like parody, like it's an absolute parody game.
They obviously picked horror because they're trying to directly remake FNAF 1.
But instead of thinking about how they can make a good game, they think about how they can make a popular game.
FNAF in real time is nothing but YouTuber bait and an industry plant.
Red flags all over in that whole real-time studio people, like...
Please don't support those games.
I would absolutely recommend, if you're a creator of FNAF, steer the hell away from that development studio.
I'm not here to dunk on the fan game as a whole because there's already 2 well-made videos documenting the issues with the game from people who actually played it. It's clear the game has problems, but this sentiment that it's the worst FNAF game ever isn't something I necessarily agree with. There are flaws worth noting, but for now, I just want to talk about Brother. And you may be wondering how I can do that without playing the game. It's actually really simple. You see, dear viewer, despite Brother being plastered in almost every piece of promotional material, he does fuck on the actual game. In fact, if you were to go back and go as far as to remove all his scenes from the actual game, nothing would change. You get the same experience watching the clips of his character online as a person who actually went in and saw them through the game. But despite that, his character remains to be one of the most egregious attempts at a self-insert I think I've ever seen. I did a whole video going over OCs my viewers had sent in. I got to see some genuinely great and well-made designs for OCs, some of which are just begging to be adapted to a fan game or any visual media of the sort. There was genuine talent.
Shit, what is that?
Come on guys, that was clearly trolling. So when I say this, I mean it. Brother is the worst FNAF OC I have ever seen. Like, put this OC next to this OC. You can't tell me Brother's not fumbling the two-man. He is trolling. Like, what was the idea here? How does he stand? What's with the paper plate? Oh, MKG, it's supposed to represent the paper pals, and the fact that it's blank means Brother has yet to be given an identity. Boring! This is literally a child scribble come to life, and unlike mommy and daddy, I'm not gonna put this on the fridge and pat you on the back. I'm gonna let you know it's ass. This child scribble has put himself inside the FNAF narrative to the request of absolutely no one. It's a fan game, yes, it's not canon, but self-insert OCs have a negative win-loss ratio because most of the time the intentions behind those self-inserts is to either make the whole story revolve around them or shove themselves into a part of the story just because they can. Brother is a mix of both.
In Bumblebee. And Bumblebee.
Like, this is supposed to be a FNAF 1 remake, one where you actually play 6 hours of FNAF in real— oh, wait, sorry, they scrapped that. Like, this is supposed to be a FNAF 1 remake, one where the animatronics move in real time— oh wait, all the animations are pre-rendered, so it's not actually in real time. Okay, so in FNAF Real Time, hold the real time, we get a FNAF 1 game that actively tries to rewrite the FNAF 1 story. They wanted their new FNAF 1 remake to have an original story that's also faithful to the FNAF 1 setting. That's actually a really cool idea, especially since the game is pretty much FNAF 1. Making a more fun version of the game plus adding on a story that's faithful to the setting would be sick. There's been so much FNAF lore in the past 10 years. You can incorporate so many new things while keeping the original DNA of the game. I wonder if they're gonna focus the story on. You know who would be cool? Character that's been there since the beginning? Golden Freddy.
Too many.
Say that again?
Really taking remakes seriously here. Like, imagine making a remake of Let Me Stress. Someone else's idea, and just replacing the main character with your self-insert. Like, Star Wars, is that you? And I like how hard the dev team tried to gas Brother up. It was like they damn near were planning to drop a crypto coin with him. They had a fan art contest that was not about the game itself, but specifically about Brother. If you really look at it, it seems that they used FNAF Real Time to get free commissions of their self-insert character. And when the FNAF movie came out, they made a no spoilers poster with Brother like he was a part of the official cast list. Which, slight detour, Real Time Studios is making a FNAF fan game based on the movie, which is really cool. Surely they'll make all the decisions based on the source material instead of shoehorning in a character that quite literally doesn't exist in the movie, right?
What's good, G? What the
Yo,
fuck
can I
is
get a
this,
spot?
dog?
What the fuck is this?
Nah, bro, get that shit out of here.
What's wrong with you?
FNAF Movie Game is a fan game of the Blumhouse Five Nights at Freddy's movie to make a classic FNAF experience, but being faithful to the original movie visuals, timeline, and atmosphere.
You know the game they're making about the FNAF movie, right? The one that has a deep bag to pull from that would be so interesting seeing translated back to game form? Why is it that instead of having the movie be the focus, the first thing you see upon loading up Game Jolt is an OC that has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever? How are you gonna say this is faithful to the original movie's timeline, then put in bold letters that this is set up in your made-up universe? There was even an OST dropped for the fan game that hasn't even gotten a release date, by the way, and instead of choosing something from the movie to represent the project based on the movie, Taran has decided that it'd be way more important if instead this fantasy, this fan fiction scene that never happened in the movie was the perfect fit to represent not just this OST, but this project as a whole. This could legally be classified as false advertising. Quite literally, this one decision has killed all my interest in this project, and the Brother glaze doesn't stop there. They had 2 whole songs, music videos included, just to hype up Brother. They had one by Tryhard Ninja, but instead of just being the FNAF Real-Time song, it's the FNAF Real-Time Brother song. The meat writing is insane! Then you got people in the comments gassing this song up like it's the greatest song ever when in my opinion, it's not even top 10 Tryhard Ninja. But on the bright side, this comment clarifies that FNAF Real-Time is after FNAF 1 and before FNAF 3, so nothing is being rewritten. Phew, that was a close one, guys. Looks like I can scrap that section in the script that my brother in Christ, they are literally shoving an entire OC inside of the storyline. If some random character was introduced today that traveled back to the period between FNAF 1 and 3, this shit would be massive. But instead, this is literally the equivalent of that one meme the chill guy got popular off with him alongside the cast of Arthur, or that one time that one guy animated his OC inside a gumball and people were quick to let him know he was not a part of the team. Golden Freddy did not die for this.
Tonight, we honor the original.
I never thought a FNAF character could seem like an industry plant. For such a huge push Brother has, it's strange he only exists outside of gameplay. I can't help but think that this whole framing around Brother would have been far more interesting if he was replaced with Golden Freddy or even the Marionette. Because, let's be honest, Brother is not a part of the team. There is no world he'd be canon the way he's been shoved into. Allow me to stress this again. Someone else's idea! And yes, it's not canon MKG, it can't hurt you, but this is some Stillwell mimic levels of self-inserting. The only difference between Stillwell and Real-Time Studios is that at least they own the license to the IP. Real-Time Studios doesn't even have the luxury of being a part of the fanverse. Every video I've seen critiquing FNAF Real-Time is just the most neutral stance ever or makes the viewer think FNAF Real-Time is the worst fan game of all time. But neither of those videos actually explain how blatantly shameless that Brother is as a self-insert. And I don't mean just narratively. Brother is a textbook definition of a self-insert. His creator freaking cosplays him. I was under the assumption that this guy right here was the soul that inhabited him. And you know, he just so happened to look like Taran. But after perusing the wiki pages, it turns out that this guy that's so deeply tied to Brother's story is actually just fucking Taran. I don't know what's worse, Taran creating a character a part of Brother's lore that just so happens to look like him, or Taran putting he himself inside the FNAF lore and shackling himself to his already poorly made FNAF character. Meanwhile, Sparky the dog is just there, man. He's a character that's not trying to be the messiah of the FNAF lore. It's a character that's just there for the purpose of making you think this was some super rare Easter egg. The simplicity has charm. And guess who's in the FNAF movie who isn't? This is literally a Luigi wins by doing nothing moment. It's funny too because Brother is a combination of all the animatronics plus the $12.99 purchase of a pack of disposable paper plates for some reason. So is Sparky, minus the paper plates. It says it right here that in the movie, Sparky's a combination of the classic animatronics, and he miraculously managed to do that and not look like an abomination. It's just that easy. Sparky's legacy has literally lasted 10 years. And yeah, he wasn't always the darling of the FNAF community. He never had a fan art contest, he never had a music video by Tryhard Ninja, and yet he never needed that. He's such an icon that not only was he paid homage in the FNAF movie once, but twice, MatPat included, and fan games do tend to include him in their games. He's in FNAF Reanimated, and look how much more aura he has. Brother once again is fumbling the two-man. Sparky is in FNAF Real-Time, he's right there. And to be fair, Brother is in other fan games as well. But where Sparky seems like a harmless nod, Brother's fan game appearances seem like Terrence of the developers $20 underneath the table. It's kind of mean to say it, but I don't see Brother's legacy lasting a year or two, let alone 10. I mentioned Brother's whole role would work better if he was replaced with Golden Freddy or the Marionette. I'll take it even further. If Sparky replaced Brother, it would genuinely make FNAF Real-Time story far more interesting. But instead of actually trying to do anything with them, they wanted all those resources to be given to the self-insert instead. And I know Sparky is neither Taran or Scott's character, but that doesn't seem to be a hurdle for any of them. For Taran specifically, in the FNAF movie game trailer, they allude to a plotline with Sparky. Why not just do that here as well, instead of wasting narrative time on a character's story that goes nowhere? Both Golden Freddy and Sparky have no significant role within Real-Time. In fact, it's so insignificant that you literally can't find any in-game pictures of them because barely anyone knows they're included. I implore you, viewer, think of anything interesting to do with Sparky in the context of a FNAF 1 remake / soft reboot, and I can promise you that your idea would be infinitely more compelling than anything that was attempted to be done, Brother. Brother's story in question, despite being a huge part of the FNAF Real-Time story, ends up just amounting to a cool cutscene that you won't be thinking about after you close the game. He follows the same approach as traditional FNAF lore by having the player look closer to understand the deeper layers, where being generous, and lore of his character. But counterpoint, Who the fuck cares? Now don't get me wrong, if Brother was a part of his own fan game universe, I'd totally understand what's trying to be done with this character, but this is a FNAF 1 remake. I don't think most people who loaded up the game to re-experience FNAF 1 are just itching to be invested in a character that wasn't even a part of the original game. People play the game for content, or to have an enjoyable fan game experience. But I can guarantee you, no one's loaded up FNAF in real time, popcorn bucket in hand, and was locked in to experience the cinematic story of Brother. This is a fan game, and it's such a non-factor in the grand scheme of anything that by literally next year, dare I say month, it will be buried by whatever other fan game that becomes the latest obsession. No one's gonna care about Brother in the way you'd care about actual characters or part of the franchise like the Mimic. Now, that may be obvious to most people, but it's definitely not obvious to Taran. And you know what's crazy? Is I think in some capacity, Brother's inclusion could have worked. Maybe if it was a side Easter egg or something like Comcat from Next Week at Freddy's, then yeah. But it's clear from all that marketing that the end goal for Brother is him replacing the Ninja Freddy Fazbear himself. When you truly look at it and deep dive into everything around Brother, FNAF in real time stops being some quirky FNAF 1 remake and a vessel to hype up someone's self-insert OC. It's FNAF 1. I want to see the gang, like, who are you?
It's probably like fucking PT scary. Let's click on it.
It's hard to actually want to care about Brother when there's nothing interesting about his character, which is made worse when he's put on such a high pedestal to amount to actually just nothing. Industry plan aside, the main problem is that due to the circumstances of FNAF Real Time as an idea, he doesn't fit in. He actually feels like an OC instead of an actual character, and if you look past the glazing, the disinterest for Brother is apparent.
This is the guy from that one fan game FNAF 1 Recreation. This guy is basically the creator's self-insert OC. I have no idea what his importance is in the actual game. He's mainly seen in marketing.
In my opinion, it became way bigger than it had to be. Specifically, the cutscenes with Brother that honestly would have been fine if it was Golden Freddy instead.
The Brother. He's like Lockjaw from TRTF, a self-insert OC with no real story or effects on gameplay. He literally appears in some cutscenes and minimap sections, and that's it. He was hyped as hell, as if he would have been the second coming of Candy the Cat, yet he's barely used.
The fact a literal reskin of Freddy is a cooler character than whatever the Lockjaw wannabe is supposed to be is hilarious to me.
My only thing I dislike about the game is just the plate animatronic. It looks incredibly stupid, but that's not even close to a deal breaker to me.
My biggest problem for me personally, I wish they didn't insert their boring OCs and new story. It's bad. I wanted FNAF in real time, not FNAF not really in real time with a ton of new lore that isn't interesting and I didn't ask for.
I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm better. I am better.
In this game called Animatronic Memories, they have an OC named Tootsie, who is the main antagonist of the Parts and Service Nights. But instead of using the fan game about the official FNAF characters as a vessel to focus on an OC, they just said,
"Oh, the animatronic in the back? Oh, we were just toting on to her because of some incident at another location. She's nothing really to worry about." So you're right as a stun baton.
Now don't confuse this with me just wanting Brother to be a nothing burger of a character. Because he already is. That's not the point I'm trying to make, because with Tootsie, her role is very minimal. It's her design elements that give her worth and lets her slide in the FNAF 1 setting. One can see the clown makeup and the treat dispenser in her chest and think, baby. And it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility of that being fact, because there are other pseudo-OCs in the game that have unique names that are clearly different takes of existing characters. Compared to Brother, Tootsie definitely has far less attention given to her from the devs. Tootsie is in one promotional while Brother is in several, but I believe Tootsie still ended up being the better character at the end of the day. Because yes, like Brother, she doesn't serve a huge role in the game, yet she still ended up having a purpose in the gameplay. You could remove Brother from FNAF Real Time and honestly nothing would change. It might even get better. But remove Tootsie from Animatronic Memories and you strip the gameplay of the Parts and Service Nights. Because the Parts and Service Nights in question aren't really that hard, but at least she does something. For all the points people have for FNAF Real Time being bad, my hot take is that FNAF Real Time just wasn't a compelling use of the FNAF IP, especially compared to Animatronic Memories. And I think the biggest thing holding the game down is Brother.
You had a dream and I followed it, but you brought it downhill. Everything, you ruined it.
And I don't say that just because I don't like him. I mean, seriously, think about all the resources they spend hyping up a self-insert OC that doesn't even fit in the setting of the game they're making, just for the result of his character to be a narrative that would have fit way better in Golden Freddy's hands. If this really is between FNAF 1 and 3, think about all the stories they could have told using modern day lore. Because the FNAF lore is way deeper than it was 11 years ago. Instead of Night 7 culminating with a well-made, yes, but forgettable cutscene with Brother, it could have been about William Afton. Imagine you play as William Afton and instead of the animatronics pursuing you, it's the spirits. And the ending could be Afton fleeing to a part of the building that only he knows about, the back room where he keeps the spring bodysuit. But he's not safe, the spirits still follow him, and from there, you can already guess where this ends.
You stupid kids. Stupid in life and stupid in death. I'll see you all in hell.
Oh, waiter! More attention for brother, please! FNAF in real time seems like a FNAF 1 game that doesn't like FNAF 1. Because my personal fanfiction aside, they had the assets to do this. The safe room is just something you can look at in the cameras already. Instead of doing anything with it, it's more of a cameo than the Chekhov's gun to something interesting within the story, which seems to be the case for all the characters they could have done things with. Yeah, is it historically accurate that Golden Freddy does fuck all in these games? Yes, but depending on the point in the timeline, it's arguable that Golden Freddy is single-handedly the most important character in this franchise. Maybe I'm a few lore updates behind, but Golden Freddy is the same vengeful spirit that refused to let go because they felt Athens' torment wasn't enough. He would have been far better in the Night 7 cutscene than the Build-A-Bear animatronic that replaced him. Instead, it's an okay we see the foot moment, but change that to okay we see the OC. The Night 7 cutscene in question is the only good thing done with Brother's character. It's also, in my opinion, the only time Taran's music was actually good. Real-Time Studios cooked with this scene. The people within the studio are genuinely talented, but despite the glaze coming from a hater like me, I would still consider Brother's only interesting moment within his character to be forgettable. Why? Simply because it's him in this scene. No one outside of the niche Real-Time Studios lore bubble, or even outside the fan game niche in general, would understand who this character is, but replace him with Golden Freddy or even Sparky, and even the most out of touch fans of the series can understand this without context. Because at the end of the day, current day, no one cares, because this is an OC put in the FNAF setting with no justifiable reason to be there. The whole reason I'm stressing this Golden Freddy point so hard is because they gave Brother a narrative that would have just been fine with Golden Freddy. So like, why make a FNAF 1 remake, right? Choose to add a story anchored upon a central character, make the bold decision of not making that character Golden Freddy, but then at the same time making this new character that just ends up being Golden Freddy. They took away Golden Freddy's original jump scare. You wanna know where Brother is standing in one of the mini Brother glazing music videos? Yeah, in another music video, he's leading the animatronics. Yeah, and on the wiki page, it states that Brother has supernatural powers and is the only animatronic able to leave the pizzeria. Guys, you might want to sit down for this one. Also, things would have just made more sense if it was just Golden Freddy in the first place. The whole thing with Donovan mistaking Brother for the killer would have made much more sense, because I don't know if you guys remember this, Afton wears a fucking yellow suit when he becomes the man behind the slaughter. Back in FNAF 2, when we didn't know anything about Spring Bonnie, we thought the only yellow suit the killer could have worn was Golden Freddy. The whole leading the animatronics to freedom through revenge on the killer is literally just Golden Freddy. Bro, literally walk the killer down. It's hard to believe Brother replacing Golden Freddy wasn't intentional, because the introductory cutscene in this game with Brother has him replacing Golden Freddy bar for bar in a scene he canonically was in. You wanna know why I think Brother is the lamest FNAF OC ever? It's because he just isn't an egregious self-insert OC. He's an egregious self-insert OC that had a bigger spotlight than any of the shitty OCs that came before him. Because let's be honest, Real-Time Studios was cloud farming. You couldn't escape FNAF in real-time. It was everywhere. Real-Time Studios clearly knows how to play the marketing game. Dare I say better than any other FNAF fan game dev team. While not necessarily being a bad thing, especially in this internet age, it ended up being a double-edged sword. Because a point brought up in critiques I watched is it seems that FNAF in real-time was more marketing than game, which admittedly is a bit of an extreme statement, but to be honest, Real-Time Studios doesn't really make it easy to debunk. Fan art contests, skits, music videos, merch collabs, all focused on Brother. They were using the YouTubers, the fan games they were closely tied with, the FNAF movie, the 10th anniversary in general to do the marketing for them. Despite Brother's insignificant role in the game, they knew people were going to see their favorite YouTubers play it. In fact, that cutscene I've been glazing, that only good thing done with Brother's character was a secret cutscene. It's an ending you have to go out of your way to find. And it seems on the YouTube side of things, not many people went out of their way to find it. Like I said, no one cares, but I don't think Real-Time Studio cares at all either. Taran got his OC inside the game. He got his OC merch. He got people drawing his OC. He got his OC plastered over everything like he was an official character. It seems it didn't matter if Brother fit in FNAF 1 or not. The game got the hype, and with that hype, they could do whatever they wanted with Brother, because they knew people were gonna play the game regardless. And all those time and resources spent on Brother could have went just to the game. But it's clear that this was just supposed to be the Brother show. Look, new launch poster, Bonnie, you like it? Oh, it's cool. No, what's up? We're bros. I'm part of the team. You can tell me. Right, you're part of the team. You're part of the team. Why is it you? You have like a collective screen time of 5 minutes, and that's being generous. You know, I'm a classic. You think FNAF 1, you think Brother. There's like any of Freddy in the band. Look, you're right there.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it for me. Are all of them like this?
1, 2, 3, 4.
You know what? I had a music sheet for Tryhard Ninja. I think I'm gonna go get to that.
Look at this dude.
You want to know what's so funny about that last bit? There's a publicly available creator drive that has a bunch of assets for free use on the Game Jolt page. And in the promotional posters folder, every single last one of them has brother as the subject of choice. So yes, it's hard to believe Real-Time Studios even liked FNAF 1. The remake, the remaster, the reimagined by default says the thing being remade, remastered, or reimagined wasn't good enough. Or if you want to look at it from a glass half full perspective, it's making something older better. So tell me, if brother was in FNAF 1, would that make FNAF 1 better? Is FNAF in Real-Time a game that goes beyond anything a FNAF game has ever done because it has brother? Is FNAF 1 bad because it doesn't have brother? I believe the answer to all those questions is no. There's an argument to be made that FNAF in Real-Time misses the point of FNAF 1.
Holy fastballs!
But that's subjective. The bread and butter of fan games is the alternative take. Does Minecraft Custom Zombies stay faithful to the original Treyarch formula? No. But is it fun? Heck yeah! The Glitched Attraction and Five Nights at Anime. These are two FNAF fan games that objectively miss the point of FNAF. But doesn't mean they're bad by default. One does something interesting with the IP and the other is a Glitched Attraction. FNAF in Real-Time just doesn't do anything interesting with the IP, and that's not bad, but you look at Next Week at Freddy's and you can tell despite all the creative liberties that this is still a take on FNAF 1. You look at FNAF in Real-Time and this is just FNAF 1. Ironically, FNAF in Real-Time is the most faithful FNAF 1 remake, but it got a slight dent in the back. Everything added to FNAF in Real-Time, the Real-Time but not really AI, the hub world, and the Night 3 boss fight only really made FNAF in Real-Time seem like FNAF 1 with a gimmick. But it's clear they wanted to be more than FNAF 1 with a gimmick, because if this wasn't the case, there wouldn't be a single cinematic, a single music video, a single VHS analog horror series attached to this project. FNAF in Real-Time wanted to be more than just FNAF 1 Plus. I know, ironic. They wanted a story, a narrative to complement the FNAF 1 experience that wasn't too difficult to, well, experience. So like, why didn't they go for any of the characters that actually existed in FNAF 1? Why make it about OCs that had nothing to do with the OG game in the first place? Because like I said, FNAF in Real-Time is literally just FNAF 1. Aesthetically, they didn't attempt to change anything. If you were to ask someone the difference between this picture and this picture, they might say it's the same one. There's no alternative takes here besides the gimmick. It's pretty much the FNAF equivalent of a better Minecraft mod. It's so similar in fact that for it to legally exist, you need to have FNAF 1 to play it. So with a FNAF 1 remake that's pretty much the most faithful one yet, why throw in a curveball and put this ninja in here? Then take it a step further and make this nobody the mascot of your FNAF 1 remake. What is Brother an alternative take of? A character that wastes your time? Did they just like the idea of Brother? Was he always supposed to be a cameo? Is that why he does nothing in the game?
Hey, that's my shoulder.
Because that can't be the case considering they rolled the red carpet out for him. Why make this character the mascot of the game and then proceed to not give us a single reason to care that he's there? Because it's actually crazy how insignificant he was to the game, yet still ended up being a detriment to said game. All the talent wasted on this loser could have went to telling a compelling story in the FNAF 1 setting. Brother cucks so many characters out of doing something in the game they came from. Look at all the love and care they could have gave to Golden Freddy. Clearly the perfect version of the game that started it all is the one with Taran's self-insert OC. Scott, the movie's great, it's just, it doesn't have Brother. So when I make my FNAF movie game, I'm gonna go with the version of the movie that you should have went with. And that's not me putting words in their mouths, that's what they're saying when they do shit like this. Why not just give Brother his own fan game? It's clear by the study of Yapology on his wiki page that he clearly has a story to tell. What, are we afraid the YouTubers aren't gonna play it? Does his character not hit the same when he's not plastered over someone else's idea? Does FNAF 1 really benefit from Brother's existence? Wouldn't you rather have a character that does something than nothing? How do you add a narrative to FNAF 1 and instead of using one of the most important characters of classic FNAF canon, replace him with an OC that has no aura? Like, I'm not the president of Golden Freddy's fan club, but am I crazy to think he was done astronomically dirty? He doesn't even get his original Easter egg. He gets this easily missable replacement on a cam that never had a feed, that 8-bit Ryan rolled the low chances of getting, but oh sorry, couldn't fucking see it. Don't worry guys, they don't just got us with one music video exploring Brother's backstory, not even just 2, but 3! Brother was never meant to be a part of FNAF 1.
Losing Golden Freddy for this is like losing Shadow the Hedgehog for a cold, stiff slice of school cafeteria pizza.
And it all starts to click when you realize that Brother was originally a roleplay character. This want to be included in something he was never a part of, this penchant for tying himself to things when no one asked, was in his DNA from the start. He wasn't made for FNAF in Real-Time. He wasn't an addition created to fit the game, nor the setting. Taran saw an opportunity to include his OC and he went for it. And again, and again, and again, and again. And I wouldn't have minded if this was an Easter egg from the developers, but as you can gather from the entirety of this video, it was clear plans for Brother were far bigger than it needed to be. So yeah, I don't think Real-Time Studios can really beat the never liked FNAF 1 allegations, because the reason FNAF in Real-Time is so faithful to FNAF 1 as a remake is because it objectively does nothing inventive with the source material. FNAF in Real-Time is a glorified mod, and I'm not saying it's not a fun one, but when you go about and pretty much make the same game with a better animations mod pack plus shaders, and make one of the only big changes this waste of space, then proceed to make said waste of space the game's mascot, it reads less as, here's my OC I put in for fun, and more of "there, fixed it." Real-Time Studios let a role-playing OC block the storytelling potential of a passionate remake of the first game in the series. Brother already had his own story, and anyone that didn't fit in it didn't belong in it.
It was perfect, but no, you just had to blow it up. You and your pride and your ego. You just had to be the man. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now.
Look, it's not that deep. Certainly not 30-minute video deep. There's some Brother supporters and there's some Brother haters. Take a guess which side I'm on. A lot of people state that they don't like Brother, but rarely anyone states why beyond a surface level, mainly because his addition to the game was handled so poorly that people just wondered why he was there in the first place. And he was almost set up to fail considering the heavy marketing around his character. I don't hate the work that went towards Brother. I hate the fact that the work went towards him in the first place. My hatred stems from wasted potential. With the massive stage that FNAF in Real Time had, it could have been truly something special for FNAF 1. Gameplay complaints aside, at least the storyline could have been fire, because Real Time Studios truly didn't use the FNAF 1 setting to its fullest. But instead, they shoved characters that were never part of the setting into the storyline, and the worst offender just happened to be Brother. He'd wasted time and he wasted space. And him being an obvious self-insert and a developer's pet didn't help him. He didn't make the FNAF 1 experience better, he just ruined the potential of a good storyline. So yes, Brother is the lamest FNAF OC. Not just because he was poorly designed, not just because he was clearly the dev's self-insert, not just because he was prioritizing marketing over the actual game, but because he stood in the way of FNAF in Real Time being the best version of FNAF 1.
This was never supposed to be. Can't you see what you're doing to me? Oh.
FNAF in Real Time situation is crazy. So there's a few things I feel like I need to mention because that guy won't leave me alone unless I do. So yeah, to be clear, no one in Real Time Studios deserves any hate for Brother or even the game in general. They did a lot of good work, and even though I understand a lot of the criticisms of the game, I feel a lot of them undermine the work the talented people hired on for the project did. Don't let my hatred for Brother make you think that the product they made was irredeemable. It winning Fan Game of the Year over these fan games is some premium meat writing, not gonna lie, especially considering the game is just FNAF 1 plus mods, but that's neither here nor there.
Congratulations! Oh my god.
But there's only one person a part of the Real Time Studios that deserves the blame, the creator of the main man himself, Taran. You see, it turns out Taran's a bit problematic. There's allegations of him being a bad director, him stretching the team thin, and turning the studio into a Mappa sweatshop. In the first meeting about the development of Pinata Puppy World, the starting topic at hand wasn't anything about the content of the game, but instead the amount of bank they could make if they didn't match games like Indigo Park in quality, but revenue. I mean, honestly, big dogs gotta eat. But the allegations continued. He's not good with feedback. The playtesters said the game was ass, and he ignored them. There was more marketing material in the development Google Drive than development. He left the studio, but when he heard there was plans of changing Brother, he conveniently came back. There's arguments for him genuinely being a narcissist. There's screenshots of him being racist, he's a weirdo, and he's just unlikable in general. But I'm gonna be honest, all these allegations are just a bunch of he said, she said. Yes, quite a few of these receipts were actually posted by people who worked with Taran. There is a level of authenticity here. This genre even has the Brother fan account stressing. But while there are screenshots and statements from people who are actually on the inside, there's also people with the same insider knowledge claiming that those screenshots are either out of context or being portrayed worse than they actually are. And those allegations that were true were either addressed by Taran himself or Real Time Studio. And this kind of also weakens the argument that he can't take criticism as well, because all his public responses have been him being mature and responsible. And the racist stuff, yeah, they're real and they're not okay, but they're old, and he has apologized for them. He even went as far as to put down the crowd to excuse his actions by downplaying the severity of the situation. I'm getting to it. I'm not entirely dismissing the idea that he's done bad things, but I need more than pointing fingers. I need actual good evidence, and I actually found that, and ironically, it goes back to Brother. Real Time Studios is cool with a lot of developers. They aren't evil. They do charity streams, they bring attention to the problems within the FNAF community, and they show love to other creators. This has got them into a lot of good standing, so the developers of FNAF Rewritten included Brother in their game as a show of thanks. It really pushes this narrative that Taran really wanted people to see his OC, because there were two other games that Brother was going to make an appearance appearance in, one that he was already in, and one that he was planned to be implemented with the full release of the game. Fnaf management wanted. It's actually a Minecraft mod, but lo and behold, here he is. Now the other game, Blood and Gears, is a fan game that Taran actually shouted out. It was clear he really liked the project and he had a good enough connection to make music for the game, and also a good enough connection to have Brother invade another FNAF 1 setting. But both these MCU cameos have been cut, because on the Blood and Gears wiki for Brother, there's a link that sends you to this tweet.
We did it, Freddy. We won. Let's get some pizza.
And the picture attached is management wanted Freddy and Blood and Gears Freddy fist bumping after rocking Brother's shit. I think this is more solid evidence for the narrative of Taran being a bad person than a few Discord screenshots. You don't put in the work, the labor into making a character for your game and then just deleting them later over something little. It's like taking a feature off the album because you fell out with the artist. But going by the things they've been insinuating but they can't say publicly, Taran's not looking like a saint here. But this video is about the OC, not the creator. You can't talk about Brother without talking about Taran. You can't talk about Taran without talking about the controversies. Look, he said, she said or not, it's clear Taran has made some bad decisions. Bad decisions that I hope don't define him. He's a young guy acting as the leading figure of a development team and he has a lot of ambitions. And with a lot of ambitions, that means a lot of room to make mistakes. I just hope he can learn from those mistakes in real time before it's too late. I really hope someone in the comments doesn't drop some crazy lore dump that makes me regret saying that. Subscribe, I'm trying to become the best C-tier FNAF YouTuber, MKG 2025.